just describe your personal feelings and seeing this all come together today?
Yeah, really excited, really proud. Yeah, it's just a bit of a special day. It's my birthday as well, so yeah, it's quite a nice birthday present for it to be on today and for it to all be official. So yeah, no, delighted.
I suppose the talk about childhood dream, that sort of thing, that they all know the pride each people. What is that like at this moment?
Yeah, it's a hard one because, like I've said this before, captaining is not something that like you dream of as a kid. Like you just dream of playing and running out of Murrayfield in front of all those people and getting to live out that kind of dream. Whereas captaincy is probably more something that comes into it when you're already kind of involved and around the environment, and if it's something you feel you maybe want to do. So yeah, really proud to have the opportunity to do it. And I think really lucky to have the group of men that I'm able to lead. So yeah, really, really special.
How do you assess the strength of that group that's been named this morning?
Yeah, really strong. I think arguably probably one of the strongest ever. I think the depth that we have is excellent. Like even you look at the guys who unfortunately have missed out on the squad, like could easily have been in there, and arguably would have been in there in previous World Cups. So yeah, a really strong group, and I think we're building really nicely.
What about Stuart McInally? Obviously missed out. I mean, just to summarise his career as a former teammate of his.
I spoke to him yesterday, and I said to him I was just really grateful for him because he's obviously been there throughout my career and he's been such a huge part of it in terms of someone that I would turn to for advice. Like anytime I needed him, he was there, and I think if you were to speak to anyone who's been involved with the squad with him, like he would be someone that they would turn to in any sort of situation, whether that be on the field, off the field, life advice. When they've got good news, they would tell him, and they've got bad news, they would tell him, because he's just that type of person. So, yeah, an outstanding career, and yeah, just more importantly, a special human, and yeah.
Is that one of the hard parts of this process, that you have guys with you for the last couple of months, part of the squad, that suddenly they get sort of cut loose just a couple of weeks out?
Yeah, I mean it's part of our career as rugby players in general. Like it happens every year at club level, and obviously guys retire throughout that period as well. And but I think yeah, it is one of those tough ones because as a national team you don't necessarily get loads of time together for training, like before campaigns and things. Whereas this is an extended period of time, and it's quite an intense environment where you become really close to people in that short space of time. It's hard when people leave that, because you know it's hard for them as well, because at the end of the day we're all competing for the same thing, which is to go to a World Cup, but you're all mates at the same time. So yeah, it is a difficult part of the process, but we know what happens in World Cups, and these guys may be called upon and they'll maybe get their opportunity to play. So
Jamie, describe it as possibly the strongest group that's been put together for Scotland. How much of that is the individual abilities, and how much is that the ethos that has been built between the group over the last few months?
Well, I think individually, like everyone's really good and has got better over the last kind of couple of months, just because we've had that more intense time together. And yeah, like I think it's a word that's probably overused, but our culture as a group in and around when we're in camp together is great. Like you'll not find a closer group of people. Everyone's great mates, but when it comes to training, we all compete and train hard and try and make each other better. But then the team room's full every night. Guys enjoy spending time together, and we all have a good laugh.
Well, the majority of the guys be itching to get out and play against Georgia as an element of now wanting to save yourself. I say that how huge an opening pool match that is.
I don't think so. I think everyone, would be delighted to play. Like anytime you get the opportunity to play in a test match, you want to play. That's certainly my feeling on it. And guys want to be in the best possible shape they can be going to South Africa in terms of fitness. So another game under our belts would be great for that. So no, I don't think anyone would be wanting to save themselves. But boys are excited for the upcoming game, and then obviously on to South Africa.
Just finally for me, and after the two performances against France and how intense they were for warm-up games. How ready do you think these guys are to take on South Africa?
Yeah, I think we're really ready in terms of. I think our physicality in both Test matches against France, especially, has been really good. I think we're building nicely. I think we started off on a pretty good foot against Italy, and then it was better again in the second half against France, and then the majority of the game at the weekend, I think we played really well, apart from that kind of 5-minute blip. So, I feel like we're building up really nicely. Hopefully, we'll have a good performance and result against Georgia, and then we're into it against South Africa, ready to go.
Okay, very much, Jamie, you speak to Stuart about the captaincy, he was captain in Japan 4 years ago. Did you speak to him about the challenge of captaining a team at World Cup?
I think we've spoken about it briefly, but I think for me, we just kind of said like it's quite an intense environment. It's really important what goes on off the field is probably the more important part of it in terms of how everyone's getting on and things. I think we're in such a great place with that at the moment that like I don't foresee any problems. Like I'm really confident that we're going to have a really good World Cup and everyone's going to be in a really good place. We're more prepared. We've seen where we're staying. We know all the kind of ins and outs of it. We've ironed out a few of the creases with the hotel and things like that, so there shouldn't be any problems off the field.
I mean, does that mean you guys prepare for everything? Is it something that that you've taken upon yourself to kind of do a bit more or look into or speak to people about the fact that you are going to be a captain in this intense 6-week period? Or you just going to take it as it comes?
No, I think take it as it comes partly, but also just making sure that I'm using the leaders in and around me. Like I'm really lucky with the guys that we've got, the experience that we've got, that it's not all going to fall on my shoulders. Like we share the load in terms of who talks at training, who leads on certain areas, who covers off certain bases. So it's very much a team effort, and I think that'll be really important going into this World Cup, that it's not just falling on me, and I don't think it would.
You talked about the off-field preparedness. On the field, obviously the last World Cup ended in a disappointment.
Yeah.
What's the most significant improvement on the field for the squad?
I think we know who we are a bit better now. We're really clear in what we're trying to do and how we're trying to play. Not that we weren't in 2019, but I think like it just feels much better now in terms of right, this is how we want to attack. Our defence is different and, in my opinion, stronger. But everyone's buying in, and I think as a collective we're in a stronger position.
Not last World Cup, actually, I did on a personal high with you when you were awarded sort of honour by Japan on an outstanding game.
Yeah.
How much have you improved since then?
I'd like to think quite a lot. Certainly played a bit more, but it was different. And for me, that World Cup was a little bit of a whirlwind, just because of the kind of circumstances going into it in terms of getting injured in the game just before we left, and then not sure if I was going to play, missing the first game because I hadn't recovered from my operation, and playing the first game, and we were in a position where we needed to win every game with a bonus point or something, I think it was, by that stage. So yeah, it's just a bit of a whirlwind for me, and then the last game, obviously, with the typhoon and everything going on around it, it was it was a great game. I remember it very clearly. Probably one of my favourite games I've played in a Scotland jersey, even though it was a loss. Like it was just such a massive occasion, like probably one of the best atmospheres I've ever been involved in. But I'd like to think I've improved, probably a little bit cooler head on the pitch now. I used to be a bit angry back then, but yeah, I'd say so.
Jamie, captaincy changed and captain's been dropped by Scotland a couple of the last recent World Cups. Is it important for you to have almost a selfish focus on yourself sometimes? You've got the wider responsibilities of the group, but you've also got to make sure that your game's in order.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the most important thing as any leader and or captain, is that making sure you're playing well, leading by example, because that's the best kind of position to lead from. So like I've got a process that I go through every week in terms of making sure that I take off everything I need to take off before I can worry about what everyone else is doing. So I've got a list of things I write down every day, what I want to cover off, and then by the time it comes to stepping off the bus, ready for the game on the Saturday or whatever day it is, I know that I've covered all my bases, so that I can be confident and calm and go into games.
When you spoke to Randall, did you talk about that at all? Because Japan wasn't a happy experience for him, as he admitted afterwards. He took time off afterwards. I think all the recording, I think. Did he give you any advice on that front?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, I think that there's probably other stuff going on for him then and in around the group that he maybe wasn't in control of. So for me, like, I just need to keep my kind of foot on the pulse a wee bit and make sure that none of that creeps into our campaign.
What constitutes success for Scotland at this World Cup?
Good performance in every game. So I'm fully confident that any opposition that we come up against, we can beat. But more likely than not, it will be within our control whether we do or not.
You've not positive comments about the fitness of the squad. Do you feel the squad's better conditioned than it was in 2019 when it was that?
Yes, definitely.
And why is that? What have you done differently?
I think we've learned from our experience in 2019 and around what we've done during this pre-season. A little bit more contact-based stuff, a more kind of variety of game focus, and we've been into rugby from the start, which I think is probably the most important thing. And I think like the way the boys have gone about their work in this kind of off-season period has been outstanding. Every session, boys have worked hard, they've emptied the tank, and like, you couldn't ask for any more, and I think that commitment level has made a difference as well. So I'm happy with where we're at.
Would you keep was it Qatar?
Pardon?
Would you keep
Well, been in France quite a lot recently. We were lucky with the weather the first block of pre-season. My tan.
No, Katana.
Oh,
Thing you got in Japan.
Katana. I thought you were talking about the tan. I was like, it's very kind of you to say, Rob.
So,
The sword. It's in front of a fireplace in my house.
thank you.
Great.
Translations.
No problem. My tan. I'm quite happy with it, but it's a bit of a strange question.
Jamie, in terms of the fact the World Cup is quite a unique challenge about playing in that atmosphere, what have you learned, do you think, about this special challenge that you think can give you a better chance of success this time?
Don't really know. I think for me, just being aware of what it's like when you're in the environment, it's pretty intense in terms of like everyone's up for media every day. There's a lot more eyes, and you need to be aware of what you're wearing in and around camp and things like that. It's just everything's kind of turned up, the intensity's turned up a bit, and I think the boys are prepared for that and aware of it. Like, there's something that we've addressed as a group, just in and around the information that we've been given, and we know that because it's been spoken about so much, the challenge that we have with the group that we're in, because we know it's a tough group. We've got 3 of the top 5 sides in the world in one group, so we're really excited about that challenge, and yeah, no better time to take on those 2 teams than right at the start.
Jamie, when you said you were a cooler head now than 4 years ago, what's changed? Is that just getting older? Was there other factors?
Yeah, probably being a bit more efficient with my energy. Used to waste a wee bit of energy on some handbags back in the day, but no, I think just growing up with a bit more experience, realising that I didn't need to be there to play well. Like, I think I used to feel like if I needed to feel like angry and aggressive to play well, and now I'm more confident in the fact that I can be a bit of a calmer head and still play with that control aggression that I need.
Is it a challenge to do the position you play, the kick player you are? Is it a challenge to do that and the captaincy thing? You have to get up from the bottom of a rock and then try and speak to the referee or whatever it is. Is that something? Is that difficult?
No, I don't think so. Probably depends on the decision, to be honest. But I think, for me, like, I feel like I'm growing experience all the time in and around that stuff, and that I'm starting to kind of be able to separate the two better. So I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with that.
Final few questions, please.
Jamie, kids obviously a bit older now and stuff. Will they be able to come out and watch?
Yes, the plan is for them to come out for a couple of games, I think. Try and take them off school for maybe a wee bit. But the plan is to have them out for a wee bit, which will be really nice. And they're here today as well, which is special.
Yeah, how special is that for you? You've got those breaks between games now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, for me, it's probably been probably one of the most important things in my career in terms of that grounding, giving me perspective from a really young age, which has been kind of invaluable for me. And knowing that at the end of the day, no matter how well you've trained, played, or how the results gone, that when you get home, your kids are happy to see you. So it's a real special thing for me to have that, and I'm really grateful. And the fact that they can enjoy it and be part of it is even better.
Last question.
I was just going to ask, there's been a bit of debate about sort of style of play generally and rugby's need to grow audience appeal against other sports and things. It's quite obvious that you guys have been playing a pretty attractive brand. I'm just wondering your insight into that is, can you explain the thinking of what you're trying to achieve, and is it sometimes beyond just simply about winning? Do you feel a responsibility to entertain as well?
No, I don't think we feel a responsibility to entertain. I think the way we play suits us as a group and as players. I think we're never going to be a side that is massive and physical and just batters teams down. Like I'd back us physically against any team in the world. However, our strengths lie in our fitness, in our speed, and that's how we want to play. We want to play at tempo. We want to play with a freedom with the players that we have, and I think it's just probably something that happens naturally that's a bit more entertaining just because of the way we play. But it's not for anything other than we believe this is the best way for us to win Test matches, and we're really happy with where we're at with it.
But good fun. Thank you.
It is good fun, yeah, really good fun. Training's fun as well.